Good morning or good afternoon, wherever it is in the world you are joining us. Thank you so much for joining StriveScan and Cachet's virtual college exploration program. These are all STEM-focused presentations that is in partnership with Cachet, which is the College Admissions Collaborative highlighting engineering and technology. A few housekeeping items before we begin with today's session. First and foremost, you're encouraged to ask questions of your panelists throughout the session via the Q&A button that you see on your screen. When you submit a question, it gets sent to our panelists and she will work to answer them at the conclusion of the session today. As a reminder, your camera and your microphone are turned off, so please, if you do have questions, the way to submit them is through that Q&A button. This is one of 50 different panel presentations that are being run and individual information sessions that are all STEM focused, and these are through tomorrow evening. We encourage you to go to strivescan.com/virtual/STEM, the same space that you went to register for this session, to check out the additional information sessions and panel presentations that are run through tomorrow. Additionally, we are running some Colleges That Change Lives presentations that start Saturday morning. These are 41 small private liberal arts colleges, and those sessions can be found at strivescan.com/virtual/CTCL. When you sign up for today's program, you received a barcode. You do not need that barcode for this virtual event, and I am recording this session and all of the sessions, and the recordings are made available shortly after at strivescan.com/virtual/STEM, that exact same place that you went to register for this session. You'll see those recordings of all of the panels and individual information sessions. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Cindy.
All right, everybody, good afternoon. Thanks so much for joining us. I want to make sure you guys can see me okay. Perfect. So before we kick things off, if you guys could please use the raise hand function to confirm you can hear me okay. Okay. All right, so my name is Cindy Lewis. I'm the Director of Undergraduate Enrollment Management at the Tandon School of Engineering. So today I'm going to talk to you about our school, talk a little bit about some of the highlights for school that we think would be very exciting for you to hear about, talk about some of our experiential learning opportunities, and also talk about first-year curriculum, give you an idea of what your first year as a Tandon student would be like. So as we move forward, I would just ask that you kindly please wait until the end for Q&A. I will be able to answer questions at the end. We're going to leave some time for that. So welcome to Tandon. We want to start with why we think you should consider NYU Tandon School of Engineering as you're looking towards your undergraduate career. And the first thing to begin with would be our location. Our engineering school is located in downtown Brooklyn in the heart of the Brooklyn Tech Triangle. This is an area full of innovation, entrepreneurship, and of course, our wonderful school is located here. So the New York campus at NYU has a location in Washington Square, and then we also have our Brooklyn location. It is quite easy to travel between the two campuses. We have an NYU shuttle that picks up. It's free for our students, picks up right outside of our main academic building. And then of course we also have the subway. There's multiple train lines that pick up right outside of our main academic building and take students over to Washington Square. And of course students that are in Washington Square come over to Brooklyn to participate with activities at the engineering school. Secondly is study away. So NYU is part of a global network university. We have 15 global sites around the world, and this makes students that are studying engineering or STEM, it makes it very easy for students to be able to have that study away experience, which can sometimes be a challenge for students that are pursuing a degree in STEM. But what's really incredible about NYU is that not only do we have a degree granting campus in New York, we also have the degree granting campuses in Abu Dhabi and Shanghai. So these are four-year institutions, and particularly at Shanghai and Abu Dhabi, there's a lot of courses available for engineering students. But some of our students want to just have a traditional study away semester where they maybe do some electives or some humanities, and we have locations all over the world in order to be able to have that experience in London, in Paris, in Florence. So students can spend either a semester, a fall or spring semester, or maybe even a J term, so a January term, or a summer term as well. So it's really a great way to have that global experience as an undergraduate student. We have a pathways program, and these are courses that are charted for each degree. So we are working to create global pathways for all engineering students to be able to do more engineering classes at one of our global sites. A good example with this would be some of the physics courses that we're offering at our London campus. And that makes it really seamless for students to study away and stay on track to graduation. And then finally, we're part of a global E3 consortium of engineering schools. So these are other schools outside of NYU that are engineering institutions throughout the world. And we have the ability for our students to be able to study away at another engineering school too, if that is something that would be of interest to you. So our undergraduate summer research program, so every summer we have members of our School of Engineering faculty. They open up their labs to allow undergraduates 10 weeks of hands-on research under their faculty expertise. Of course, this summer it looks a little different than it has in previous years because everything is virtual, but students are still participating in the summer undergraduate research program even this year. In addition to the research that's going on in the labs, there is co-curricular programming that supports the students' experience. There's everything from sessions on how to apply for an NSF grant to career development opportunities to hearing about from alumni who have graduated from the program and what they're doing now, and that supports what's happening, the learning that's happening in the lab. This is a pretty competitive program. It's grown in the last few years. We used to cap it off at 100, and then now we're up to about 125, but there continues to be interest from our undergraduate students and from our faculty to have these students in their labs, so we're thrilled to be able to offer this as an opportunity. So we have brilliant faculty. Our faculty are innovators from all over the world in the world of science and technology. This faculty member featured here, she's Dr. Alicia Costiello. We like to talk about her because I think she's a really great example of innovation in STEM. Dr. Costiello has a cross appointment over at the Langone Medical Center. So she's working at the School of Engineering and also over at Langone. Her work is studying in cell-to-cell communication and bone regeneration. And what I think is fascinating is she's actually a mechanical engineer. So she's looking at the mechanics at the cellular level, and I find that very, very fascinating. And she's just one example of one of the incredible faculty members that we have that are teaching our students. So we offer a BS-MS program, so a Bachelor's of Science and Master's degree program. And so this is an accelerated program to work towards 2 degrees faster. So this is a program in which students would apply after their freshman year, and it would be a combination of perhaps AP credits or transfer credits that you bring in taking classes maybe over the summer or over the J term to work towards both a bachelor's and master's degree in 5 years. This is wonderful for students who know that they want to do graduate school and they want to just go ahead and knock it out and get it done. Some of the other highlights of this program are that it doesn't require the GRE. So I know a lot of you are probably focused on SAT and ACT right now as in your high school career, but thinking about having to do another standardized test in order to get admission into graduate school, not having to take the GRE is a real bonus. Additionally, the master's level courses, so the graduate level courses are at a reduced tuition rate for the students that are in this BS-MS program. So our alumni, we have a large network around the world of alumni, and that includes Fortune 500 CEOs, entrepreneurs, and even university presidents. Before we were the Tandon School of Engineering at NYU, we were the Polytechnic Institute in downtown Brooklyn. We have been in this location for many, many years, and the alumni from Poly and now Tandon NYU alums are really accomplished individuals, and they know the type of education that our students receive, and then they come back and do a lot of service to the school. They come back for everything from panels to career events to even mentoring. And they are wonderful resources for our students to find internships and jobs and grow their network. So we have cutting edge labs and research centers. What you'll see here, pictured here, is just a small portion of our 10,000 square foot makerspace. Our makerspace is an incredible hub of creativity and innovation that our students do both in classwork. So this is part of coursework, in addition to outside extracurricular and co-curricular programming, which we'll touch on in a few minutes. These are just a few of the 3D printers, but this space is massive, and it has laser cutters, it has power tools, it has some of the more dangerous and fun things for students to work on. And this is just one lab space. We like to showcase this one because it has all the fun bits and pieces out. But we of course have other really interesting labs as well. In addition to the makerspace, we also have a maker garage, and that is just a block or two away from the makerspace, and that's kind of where our VIP teams, which we'll talk about in a few minutes, that's where they spread out and do a lot of their work. In addition to the makerspace, we have research centers. Our big areas of research are data science, AI and robotics, anything urban, emerging media, health, and cybersecurity, and of course communications and IT. Touching on cybersecurity, in addition to the research centers that we have at our campus, we also have an ongoing, for over 10 years now, Cybersecurity Awareness Week, which is an international competition for high school students, and that's something that our current students participate in and help run. So innovation with purpose. We have a Center for K-12 STEM Education, and this engages local students throughout the 5 boroughs. We focus on serving students in the community. So we have a number of grant-funded free programs for K-12 students that are New York City residents. And we mention this because the K-12 Center is, it's a wonderful opportunity, not just for the local K-12 students, but also for our students. A lot of our students work these programs during the summer, so they're able to give back to the community, which is wonderful. A lot of our faculty supervise our undergraduate students that are working with these K-12 students. So it's really wonderful to see this first full circle continuum for K-12 all the way through the undergraduate career. So career placement. So NYU has a Center for Career Development, it's a Wasserman Center, and so at the Brooklyn campus, we have our own office for the Wasserman Center for Career Development. Everything that's available at the Washington Square campus, we have a location in Brooklyn as well. But in addition to the Wasserman Center, we also have the Tandon Career Services office, and this is career services just for STEM students at Tandon. I mentioned earlier that our alumni are very active. This career services office is really fueled by a lot of alumni and the connections that they have. So they're very involved with the various career fairs that we hold. These professionals in the career services office work with students all the way from the summer before they start. We ran a career academy this summer for our incoming freshmen through how to write a resume, how to do a technical interview, how to do a more casual networking event, taking headshots, putting together your LinkedIn profile, all kinds of start to finish what you need to develop yourself as a future professional. And again, these career services professionals are there for our students. They're very involved and are able to give personal attention to our students because it is just for Tandon students. And then finally, our business incubators. So we have 4 business incubators that is a partnership with the City of New York. It's a really incredible partnership that we have, very unique. And so it's faculty and students, and they're inventing and innovating products and services. And so outside of the school, so these business incubators are not just for faculty and students, are also for members of the community. Again, you're going to keep hearing us talk about the community and how we engage with New York City and the K-12 and also the business, the startup scene in New York. So these incubators are a place for startups to get on their feet. If they are selected to participate, they have space to work, they have some funding to get started, and then they eventually graduate. Our students are able to do internships with these business incubators, and all but one of them are located right on campus. We recently relocated all of them to one of our new buildings. They also do some other really innovative things with our students. This current summer, we had a challenge called the NYU Tandon Made. It was different challenges with ideas through the business incubators to address health concerns with COVID-19 and innovation that needed to happen there. And it was a competition that was all done virtually for our incoming freshman class this year, and also the incoming graduate students. And they partnered with the business incubators. So it's really incredible to see the innovation and the partnerships and just these creative ideas that come out of the business incubators, and then how they're able to grow and come out as a mature company. All right, so switching gears a little bit, we want to talk about our vertically integrated projects program. Tandon is big on experiential learning. So experiential learning can be everything from the summer research program, which I mentioned earlier, to study away opportunities, and then of course the VIP projects. So the vertically integrated projects are real world projects in research, design, entrepreneurship, and service. The teams are multidisciplinary teams of students that are supervised by faculty within their areas of expertise. I think very importantly, it's important to mention that these are repeatable elective courses that students earn credit in for long-term participation. And there's opportunities for student leadership and technical specialization. So to talk a little bit about what these teams look like, we started in the fall of 2016 with 4 teams and 21 students. This past spring, we have over 30 teams and over 300 students that are participating, and it continues to grow. These teams are everything from a Baja Motorsports car, which is built from the tires up, including welding, to a Rogue Aerospace team, Hyperloop, self-driving cars, vertical farming. I mean, the list goes on and on. And it is a very dynamic program. So these teams are put together by students who are interested in them. So essentially the way it works is a student may have an idea and come together with other students and say, we'd really like to participate in Baja Motorsports. We don't have a team. It would be really cool to have a team and be able to compete against other schools and all the different competitions that happen around the country. So they are able to find a faculty advisor that can supervise them, and then able to have funding to work on their projects. I mentioned earlier the makerspace. This is a space in which the students and these VIP teams are working together. And also in the maker garage, that's where all the heavy duty power tools and more dangerous things are, that the teams are able to kind of spread out and have a permanent station for their work. I think it's important to mention that all of the teams have students from different majors. So you're not siloed into just students that are in your majors. Speaking specifically about the Baja Motorsports, it started out with a couple of mechanical engineering majors, but it's grown to where there are physics majors that are learning how to do welding, to computer science majors that are participating in the team. And it is really important for students to have this experience to mix and mingle and work with students outside of their major, because that's what's going to happen after graduation and you enter the workforce. So this is a really educational experience, but also a very fun experience. And I think all of our students that have participated in the teams seem to have a really good time with it as well. And then additionally, students are earning elective credits towards their graduation. So working on these teams can be helping you progress through your degree, and then also have all of these other benefits. So why we encourage students to participate in the VIP program is, again, mentioning the breaking of the silos of the academic disciplines. It is extending beyond the limits of academic terms. And so this means applying the coursework that you're learning in the classroom outside of the classroom. So really hands-on, taking the knowledge that you have from your courses and applying it into this project, and really learning why and how through trial and error these things work. You're also, again, we're going to talk about professional development, not a lot, continuously being able to develop professionally, because as mentioned before, you're going to be working on a team, and that is how it works in the real world. That's how when you go into the workforce, you will be not just working with folks that were exactly the same background as you. So you sort of have this safe space to learn how to negotiate those relationships and those type of projects. And it's going to help you also build a professional network and connect with opportunities on campus. So the students that choose to create a team or participate in an existing team there's a lot of doors that open up to them because we have so many events that are happening on campus. We have showcases. We have a lot of members of the New York City various educational offices or political offices that come onto campus, and they're really impressed, and the students have a chance to talk about their work, talk about their research, and it's connecting a professional network for these students. All right. Research, again, you know, we touched on the undergraduate research opportunity, but this is another way that students are participating in research as undergraduate students, which is a pretty unique opportunity. So within the parameters and under the supervision of faculty, students are learning how to conduct engineering research. And this is really important. It's important because you may have an interest, or you may think, hey, maybe I do want to go on and do a master's or a PhD, and you're learning the basics and the fundamentals on how to conduct research as an undergrad student. So it's giving you a leg up. You're developing novel ideas and solutions on cutting edge engineering disciplines. So this is not you know, physics professor in a classroom with a piece of chalk on a chalkboard and kind of a dusty old school idea of what engineering is. This is really at the cutting edge of technology, of engineering, of what's happening in the real world and how we're addressing real world problems. And then finally, students have potentially the opportunity to publish papers and attend conferences to share their research, and again, continue to build that professional network. All right, so this list here is the current list of our undergraduate majors that we offer. One of the questions we often get is, do I have to declare my major when I apply to Tandon? And the answer is no. Students are definitely able to apply as an undeclared student. We have a good number of students that come in as undeclared and after their first year have made a decision on what they would like to major in. We also allow for students to change their majors, so that's definitely doable, especially within the first year or so of your undergraduate career, and it's pretty seamless in order to do so. I would say that to emphasize how easy it is, the first email that comes from the office of our first year advising team talks about how to change your major if you've changed your mind from when you were admitted to getting ready to register for classes for the fall. All right, so our first year curriculum, this is just to kind of give you a taste of what your first year would look like as a Tandon student. Our students are brilliant and do really well in high school, but of course there's going to be a transition from high school to college, and the first year is sort of built around the understanding that this is a transitional year. So at a glance, this is the first year curriculum with 3 pillars. One is communication, another is a STEM foundation, and the third is I²E. So that's innovation, ideation, and entrepreneurship. So these are expository writing, 2 semesters of expository writing. I often hear from our students that you say, hey, I'm a STEM major, I don't want to focus on writing. If I wanted to focus on writing, I would have gone into a liberal studies degree. Understood, but it is incredibly important to have that foundation of the ability to write and write at a college level. In order to be successful in your classes, you will have to do some writing throughout your 4 years, and then also thinking about going back to the VIP programs and research and publication. So there is a method and a reason to this requirement for the first year. The STEM foundation is going to be Calc 1 and 2, also chemistry and physics. There is a testing for math when you come in the summer before to see where you place. So you could place perhaps in a different course, but into pre-calc, for example, but these are the courses that are going to be required for the first year. And then through I²E, there's a general engineering course, an engineering and technology forum. Then there's an introduction to major class and the programming and problem solving. It's important to note that all of this is for all of our majors. So the list that you saw on the previous slide, all students are going to be required to take these courses. These I²E courses are designed to expose our students to all of the different majors. So throughout the first year, if you are in one of these courses and you have a guest lecturer from a different major and you say, you know, I came in as a computer engineering major, but it actually looks like I'm quite interested in biomolecular sciences. this is a place to and time to explore that, and then be able to change your major if you would like to. So the Engineering and Technology Forum, this class is our EG 1001. The course goals are to explore crucial elements of I²E. Again, you're going to see the innovation with purpose. So putting something new into practice for the benefit of society, and that kind of circles back to our K-12 STEM Education Center. We're again big on our community about giving back and benefiting society, inventing for a purpose. And it's also going to actively engage first-year students with the process of critical thinking. So this is a course designed for first-year students. It is an introduction to college, and it's an introduction to sort of learning how to learn at the college level. The course structure is going to include guest lectures, in-class discussion, and group projects, an online discussion forum, and then finally an innovation tournament at the end. So this course is going to usually be in your first semester, and the guest lectures would be folks that include faculty or alumni or other folks that are connected to the institution or the faculty may know. The in-class discussions and group projects are again, that taste of college, of getting your feet wet on what the expectations are going to be for you as an undergraduate student. And then the online discussion forum would be additional work outside of the classroom. And then finally, the innovation tournament at the end. That's the idea of creating something for the benefit of society and sort of putting it from theory into reality. So here is some examples of the past guest lecturers that have come in to speak with our EG 1001 courses. So we have CEO of Yahoo, we have folks from various government agencies and projects, and one of our own faculty, he talks about his work on the Apollo mission 51 years ago, and sort of how he worked on that mission to put the first person on the moon. So again, these are exciting stories from folks that have been through a STEM program, and you can kind of see where they started and where they were able to go and what their career has looked like. All right, so the second course is the Introduction to Engineering and Design, EG 1003. So this is again introducing different concepts and different fields. You're going to see again that touch point of professional skills and tools. Students are going to learn from professors, writing consultants, again, that foundation of expository writing and being able to write at a college level and learn how to begin writing with the goal of being able to publish papers eventually. There's a large group of undergraduate TAs, they're continuing students. I think that this is one of the really fun things about this program is there are the undergraduate TAs that assist these students. So this is another way that a student can have that experiential learning opportunity as an upperclassman, is to apply to be a TA in this program, and then be able to give back to the undergraduate students, and also it's a paid position. So experiential learning, again, that professional development opportunity as a TA. So something to think about after first year is, hey, I might be interested in being a TA and applying to participate with that. And then there's also lecturers that come in to speak with the group. All right, support services. So again, I keep reiterating the fact that this your first year as an undergraduate student is going to be a transitional year. We not only understand, but we anticipate that additional support is going to be needed for our students, because again, incredibly bright, successful students, learning in high school is very different from learning in college. And learning how to organize your time, learning how to stay motivated, to stay on task. The professors are there, of course, as a resource to you, but it's not going to be the same as being in high school, where you have teachers, guardians, parents that are kind of on you to do your work. This is going to be, you're going to be an adult, you're going to be independent. So we have some resources available to our students. We have our Polytechnic Tutoring Center. This, the PTC is a place where students can come in to get group tutoring or individual tutoring. There are certain courses that we've identified as potential stumbling blocks for our students that can have a sort of a track record of maybe being a little bit more challenging. So the PTC schedules ahead of time around midterms and then also finals, group tutoring. So we know that these are going to be challenges for students. We anticipate that, and so we put the support there for students through the PTC. We also have a writing center. So these are professionals that can help you when you're doing your first 2 semesters of expository writing. You can bring in papers, you can get help working on anything that you're composing, and they can also provide feedback on a paper that you may have gotten a grade on that you want to work on or work towards the final project. And then we also have a math help center. So this is specifically for students that need some extra help with math. Again, the PTC and the Math Help Center are a place where students could potentially work as an undergrad and to do some tutoring. So that's something else to think about as a way to have professional development and experiential learning as an undergrad being a tutor. So our advising services. So the first year advising, I mentioned earlier, there's an email that comes after students have accepted their offer of admission from our first year academic advisement center. So this is a center for purely professional academic advisors working with our first year students. This is what they do, is they do academic advising. They begin connections with the students after students have accepted their offer of admission in May, and students there is a number of modules that students participate in the summer between their last year of high school and their freshman year, and these are pre-registration activities, so those are required through the Academic Advisement Center. These first year advisors work with the students to get their AP credits sorted, to look at any transfer credits that might come in and apply them towards their degree, and work with them in individual and group meetings throughout their first year. So again, this is another support office that is here to help our students transition from high school to college and be successful. And on top of that, they do some really fun activities, as well as every year for Halloween, they transform the entire floor into some kind of crazy theme. This last year, it was Mario. So there was like a Rainbow Road and Mario Kart, and it's just a lot of fun. And then after the freshman year, students do transition to their departmental advisors. So if you were a applied physics major, after your first year, you transfer over to the physics department. If you were a computer science major, you go over to the computer science department, and then you would work with those advisors going forward. Some of the larger departments, such as computer science, do have professional advisors, but some of the smaller departments, you're going to have just faculty as your academic advisor. And then you are required to meet with your academic advisor each semester before you're able to be cleared for registration. And this is in order to make sure that you are taking the correct courses to work towards graduation. It's also, they're able to help you with if you want to do a minor, or if you would like to take classes at other NYU schools. They work with all of those steps. They also work with our students if they want to study away for a semester, selecting the courses at a study away site. All right, so these are our important application dates. So these are the dates for regular decision ED1 and ED2. This is all available on the NYU admissions application. We use the Common App, of course. Students would select NYU, and then they would select the Tandon School of Engineering, and then from there, select which major or undeclared. All right, and these are some important financial aid deadlines. So for NYU, well, I would say wherever you apply to school, the thing we really try to make sure that students come away from these sessions with is understanding the importance of these deadlines. As important as applying for admission, applying for financial aid is equally important. The deadlines are to be reviewed at NYU for institutional aid, so that would look like scholarships or grants. These deadlines are necessary in order to be reviewed. So depending on your citizenship status, you would have different requirements. CSS profile and the FAFSA for US citizens, permanent residents, and eligible non-citizens. For New York State residents, the TAP grant as well. International students just requires a CSS profile. And then for undocumented students, we have the CSSO profile, additional undocumented aid, and then the TAP grant for New York State residents. To be considered for financial aid as an incoming undergraduate student, these are the only documents that are required. There's not additional supplemental essay writing or anything else that must be submitted. You'll be automatically reviewed for aid if you do complete all of these forms on time. There is not a question we often get is the aid merit-based? Is there a full ride for undergrads? All institutional aid in the form of scholarships is going to have a merit, but also academic need component to it. So if a student, for whatever reason, does not apply their first year, later on, they can apply for federal aid at any point in their undergraduate career, but they're not going to be reviewed for institutional scholarships. So the big thing to take away from this is the aid that you receive or the award that you receive your first year is what's going to stay with you for all 4 years. So if you don't apply your freshman year and then you decide maybe your sophomore or junior year you want to be reviewed, you could be reviewed for federal aid, which would include federal loans, such as Stafford loan or Parent Plus loan, but you're not going to be reviewed for scholarship. On the NYU Tandon website under undergraduate admissions, there's also a page for financial aid and scholarships. And on this page, we've provided a curated list of external scholarships that we think may be applicable to our students. These are, of course, scholarships that you could use as a resource wherever you apply to school. But we think that we work on this list as opportunities arise, and that's a way to apply for additional external aid. All right, so I wanted to leave some time. It looks like we have about 7 or 8 minutes here to open it up for Q&A. So if you could please just go ahead and, okay, I see a number of questions that have come in here. So we'll start with, is housing required for NYU engineering? Let's see. Yes. So if you are, that's a great question. So at the Brooklyn campus, we have 2 res halls. One is right steps to the main academic building. When we are on campus, I can see it from my office. And this is the primary first year res hall. And then there's a second one that's about a 10 to 15 minute walk away in Brooklyn Heights, which is a gorgeous neighborhood, a bunch of brownstones right by the promenade. And those are the 2 res halls that are in Brooklyn. So your first year, unless you are a commuter student, you would be required to house on campus. After your first year, you can explore perhaps living off campus. A lot of students, as they move up and become upperclassmen, they've made some friends, they decide that maybe they want to live in an apartment, and that's definitely doable after your first year. I should also add that some students choose, they want to have the experience of living in Manhattan, and that's awesome as well. And so they can opt to live in one of the res halls in Manhattan and do the reverse commute to Brooklyn. I have a student worker in my office who was an RA, and she was an RA in one of the Manhattan res halls, and she was an RA in the Union Square area. And then she come to Brooklyn to do all of her classes and work in our office. And it was, again, very easy for her. As mentioned at the top of the presentation, students can take the shuttle or take the train back and forth. It's pretty seamless. Okay, so I see here was a question about applying as an undeclared engineer. Yes, you can definitely, this was mentioned before, but to reiterate, you can certainly just come in as undeclared. You do not have to declare a major. And it's absolutely fine. We have a decent number of students who opt to do that and then declare their major once they arrive, and they've gone through our EG 1001 or EG 1003 courses and have the chance to sort of explore and decide what major they want to declare once they arrive on campus. Okay, so hi, I'm not sure if this was mentioned, but will all classes take place at the Brooklyn campus, or will some be at the Manhattan campus? Great question. So if you wanted to, you could take all 4 years of courses in Brooklyn. You could do that. Most students choose to take some courses over at the Manhattan campus, whether these are electives, this is something that they want to do across school minor, that's doable as well, for sure. And they're, sorry about that. This is definitely doable. They are students, again, easy to go back and forth between locations when we are not doing things remotely. And so another thing that we should add is there's a lot of activities that happen over at Washington. I'm very sorry about that, you guys. They are a number of activities that happen between the Washington Square campus and in Brooklyn, so students travel back and forth, and so there are definitely a lot of interaction between the two campuses. Okay, so here's a question. Is there a Bachelor of Science dual degree programs for Tandon and Stern? So the Stern Business School is, it's very competitive. There is not a dual degree program between the two programs, but I will say we have a program called Business and Technology Management, and we're starting to see a lot of students from Stern wanting to come over and take classes within our BTM program. And so this is a program that has to do with technology management and innovation, but it's really geared towards working in tech or in an engineering field. And that I think is a really good option for those that have an interest in the business side of the STEM field, and it is available at Tandon. So there's a question here about how does the engineering curriculum demonstrate the collaborative nature of the school, any specific popular team programs. So I would again go back to talking about the VIP programs. So absolutely collaborative. That is the purpose of those teams and of those projects, and that's built into an opportunity to earn credits and be part of the curriculum. There's also a number of group projects that happen beginning your first year in the EG 1001 course where you're working with the innovation tournament. The reality of what an education needs to be now for students is you need to be prepared for the workforce. You need to be prepared for working in a group and working with others after you graduate and you enter the workforce. And we have an eye on that, and our curriculum and our whole experiential learning ethos is designed around that. Okay. So because NYU is a unique campus, would you say students often interact with other NYU students or mostly Tandon students? So again, you could choose to spend all 4 years in Brooklyn and never set foot on Washington Square, but that is not the reality for the majority of our students. Most students are going back and forth. I should also add that we are not the only school located in Brooklyn anymore. The Tisch School of the Arts and then also Steinhardt have some of their programs that have relocated over to Brooklyn. So that in and of itself is causing our students to mix and mingle. But we have our wonderful makerspace students from the other schools come over to do projects or attend events that we have in our makerspace. A good example of this would be the Maker Nurse. So students from the College of Nursing come over and have ideas for nurses, have wonderful innovative ideas and can collaborate with our students. There are numerous clubs and activities that are happening on campus between the two campuses, and sort of the fun part of being an undergraduate student in that experience is of course open and encouraged between the two campuses. Okay. So I see we just have a couple minutes left, so I want to make sure that we address this question. Any advice on how to stand out in the college application? What does NYU look for in a student? So the Office of Admissions, they are reading that, they're looking very closely at that essay as to why NYU, and fit is incredibly important. So when writing the college essay, being really mindful of telling your story, but also how do you connect to the program? How do you connect to NYU Tandon? Is there a specific research center? Are you interested in computer science? And you know that we are known for computer science. Is there, have you participated in a club or organization at your high school that there's something similar available at Tandon? Making sure that you've done your research, and not only are you a good fit for us, but we're a good fit for you because we want you to be successful. We want you to be in a place where you're going to thrive. So making sure that when you write your essay, you keep an eye on that. You keep an eye on what it is specifically about Tandon that you're interested in, and why NYU and why Tandon. All right, so I see I have about 1 minute left. Zach, do I have time for one more question?
You do.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to end here with what student organizations and societies are most popular. So our students are from all over the world. They're very really diverse, all kinds of backgrounds. So we have a number of affinity groups. So we have SHEP, we have NSBE, we have actually a sorority on campus that is it's a pre-professional sorority. So I'd say that that's pretty popular. We also have a number of women in STEM groups. STEMinists are my particular favorite. I think that that's a really fun organization. And so these groups have an eye on socialization, campus life, but also a lot of them have a component of pre-professional experiences, going to conferences, working on some kind of research or innovation as well. Right. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Cindy, for sharing this information, and students and counselors, thank you for taking the time to tune in. As you close this window, a very quick 4-question survey will appear, so we do ask for your feedback, and we encourage you to sign up for additional STEM sessions at strivescan.com/virtual/STEM. And again, this session and all the sessions will be recorded, and the recordings are all found at that exact same website that you went to register today. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great day.
Thank you.